I don't care about your excuses. This is a professional environment, not a daycare. Get back to work!
The billionaire's laughter echoed through the marble hallway as he mocked the janitor scrubbing the floor. "You'll never understand real success," he sneered, his words sharp and cruel. But when the janitor calmly rolled up his sleeve, the room froze. Because on his arm was a tattoo the billionaire had seen only once before, the mark of the man who had saved his life. Before we dive into this incredible story of respect, redemption, and hidden strength, make sure you hit like, subscribe to Narrative Tales, and turn on the bell, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The morning rush had just begun at the towering headquarters of Hallstrom Industries. Employees in sharp suits hurried through the glass doors, clutching coffee cups and deadlines. But amidst their polished shoes and sleek briefcases, one man knelt quietly in the corner, mopping a spill left by someone too important to notice. His name was Ethan Cole, a janitor, a single father, and the man everyone walked past without a glance. He moved with quiet purpose, his uniform faded, his hands rough from years of hard work. But there was something about him, a calm stillness that didn't belong in the chaos of corporate life. His eyes carried the weight of stories untold, battles fought far away from these shiny floors. That morning, as Ethan worked near the executive lounge, laughter erupted from inside. A man's voice, deep, commanding, dripping with arrogance, carried through the glass. "You see that janitor?" the voice said. "People like him clean up our messes because that's all they're good for." The room roared with laughter. Ethan didn't flinch. He simply wrung his mop and kept cleaning. But his silence made the billionaire CEO, Marcus Hallstrom, uneasy. "Hey, janitor!" Marcus called out. "Do you ever get tired of being invisible?" Ethan looked up, calm and steady. "Invisibility," he said softly, "can be a blessing. It lets you see what others can't." The room went quiet for a moment, unsure how to respond. Then Marcus smirked. "Cute line. Maybe you should try motivational speaking instead of cleaning toilets." The others laughed again, but Ethan's eyes didn't leave Marcus. He noticed a photo behind the man's desk, a younger Marcus shaking hands with soldiers in desert uniforms. The memory flickered in Ethan's mind, but he said nothing. He simply gathered his tools and walked away. That night, after finishing his shift, Ethan visited the small apartment he shared with his daughter, Lily. The walls were bare except for a few drawings she'd made. One of her father in a uniform, smiling under a bright blue sky. "Did you have a good day, Dad?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "It was just another day, sweetheart." But deep down, he remembered the faces of those who had once stood beside him in uniform. Brothers he'd lost, battles he'd survived. He had walked away from that world to protect Lily, to give her peace after her mother's passing. He'd traded medals for mops, command for quiet. The next day, a major investor was visiting Hallstrom Industries. Marcus wanted perfection. He ordered every worker, including Ethan, to prepare the lobby. "Make sure nothing's out of place," Marcus barked. Hours later, as the guests arrived, a young employee tripped, spilling coffee all over the marble floor, right at Marcus's feet. Furious, Marcus turned to shout, but Ethan was already there, calmly cleaning the mess. "I told you people to stay out of the way," Marcus snapped. Ethan straightened slowly. The sleeve of his uniform slid up, revealing a tattoo on his forearm, a faded insignia of a military rescue unit, known only to a few. Marcus froze, his breath caught. That same symbol had once been branded on the shoulder of the man who had dragged him from the wreckage of a crashed convoy years ago, saving his life at the cost of his own career. "You," Marcus whispered. "You were in Philae Base." Ethan nodded quietly. "You made it out. That's what matters." The room fell silent. The investors stared, realization dawning on their faces. The janitor they'd mocked had once been a decorated soldier, the very man who'd saved the billionaire standing before them. Marcus's voice trembled. "Why didn't you ever say anything?" Ethan looked at him with a faint smile. "Some stories don't need to be told. They just need to be remembered." In that moment, the power in the room shifted. The billionaire who had mocked a janitor now stood humbled before him. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with shame and awe. Marcus finally spoke, his voice low. "I owe you my life." Ethan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. Just treat people better. That's all any of us can do." Later that week, the company issued a public recognition, not for Ethan's military past, but for his quiet dedication and kindness. Marcus personally delivered a scholarship fund for Ethan's daughter, ensuring she would never struggle as he had. As Ethan walked home with Lily's hand in his, the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the world in gold. She looked up and asked, "Dad, were you a hero?" He smiled softly. "No, sweetheart. I just did what was right." Sometimes the strongest people are the quietest ones, the ones who've already fought their hardest battles. Respect isn't about status, it's about humanity. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to show it. Like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Narrative Tales for more stories about hidden strength and second chances. And when you're done, watch our next story about the power of compounding, how small acts and small choices can change an entire life.